Hi, hopefully you are as cozy as I am here. And let's have a chat about unread books on our TBRs, both physical and in our wish lists. Ah, okay, I'm a bit less cozy now, but let's not stop us here. I think I'm not the only person who has books they want to read, meaning they either bought them or they added to their wish list for quite some time, maybe even years, and you still haven't read them. Okay, it's a bit easy if you just change your mind. It sounded fun, but now you look at it and maybe author turns out to say something problematic in the period where you were waiting for inspiration to read this book. Maybe just stop being your vibe. Those are a bit easy. Release them if you want. I allow you. But I still have so many books because last time I did decluttering, I went through all of them. And I keep doing that again and again. I still want to read all of them. However, I didn't. And some of them are on my TBR for years. For example, one of the older contenders is Portrait of Dorian Gray. By the way, I have really cool edition by Jumbo Ink. They have both edited censored and uncensored version. Actually, I'm not sure. Can you see it? Like they mark what was edited out, like censored, so you can read and see right away where changes were made. In school, when we were learning in literature class this book, I haven't read it, or I started and haven't finished, but I remember thinking I really like this book. To be honest, from all literature we had to study in school, maybe some of it I would like now, but at the moment a lot of it just wasn't for me. I was much more into fantasy, but there were a few books that are like, wow, this is actually really interesting, and this was one of them. However, at the time, I guess like it just fall off, like I had some homework and I a bit forgot, and I wanted to read it for so long. And a few years ago, I actually bought not this different edition, just regular one, when I was buying a few other classics books because I wanted to read more classic. And then I bought uncensored version of Portrait of Dorian Gray when I learned that it exists. And then I bought like this 2-in-1 edition, and I still haven't read it. It's actually not sure. There is a book club I found in Fable, but the dates are a bit weird. I think they want to read it in June for some reason. So I joined to read with them, but I still haven't read. And the reason for this and many other books, I think it would be interesting to discuss. So one of them, I think, emotional commitment. Because for the context, I read a lot. Like, not always. I haven't always read a lot. I have a period of almost not reading anything, but last year I read 50 books. I'm very proud of myself. I read like bajillion fanfiction, and I'm doing really good this year too for this. However, I still feel like I'm afraid to pick some books. For a few reasons. I think some of those are like childhood trauma, meaning that when I was younger, the idea to put in book when it's interesting felt like torture. So I was reading during classes, I was reading during night. I definitely had significant sleep deprivation because I was reading at night a lot of nights of school. So I think part of me still afraid that I will not have time to finish the whole book in one sitting. And I feel like this book might be interesting enough to need to be read in one sitting, and therefore I'm postponing till I will have this perfect time to read it all in one sitting. Another reason is kinda that it's need emotional investment, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm investing in. It's not even about the plot. However, for example, fanfiction. When I read fanfiction, I already know the characters, I already know the setting and tags, and there is warning, so I know quite deeply what I'm getting into. So yeah, I learned what's going on, plot of this specific book, but there is some expectations I have, so I can prepare myself emotionally for whatever comes. However, when I pick book, I'm not entirely sure, I'm not even talking about the plot, but level of emotional involvement it will require me. Meaning, for example, sad parts. I don't require, like, I don't want to read only like happy books with only happy endings. Although I think we need more of those books. But sometimes I read sad parts and I'm an observer and I prefer sad. That's by the way why I like detectives like Agatha Christie. Yes, sad things happen in the story, but it's more after the fact. I don't like cry, and there are books where I'm like bawling out, my face is wet, my pillow is wet, I'm like crying. And especially given that a lot of books that I'm postponing reading do not have guaranteed happy ending, as they are either not finished series or it's classic. I never expect a classic to have a happy ending. I don't know what it says about history, culture, literature, or state of the world, but so, for example, I know this won't be a happy ending. I know what's going on here, but will it be sad? Or worse, will it be boring? And will it be exciting enough that I want to read and read and read, and then I need to go to sleep, and what do I do? Or will it be boring where I have to force myself to read it every week? And also, some books are just hard to read. I don't know, sometimes it's typography, sometimes it's how author places words. So I don't know. Before I start reading, I don't know. And the thing is that plot wise, it's not always clear from this first chapter. Sometimes it's a chapter or like even first page, and sometimes you almost half in the book, and then you kind of like finally get into action. So this like, given that I'm an anxious person and I have anxiety about work, I have an anxiety about state of the world, I kind of don't want to have anxiety about my books. And I think that's part of the reason I sometimes postpone. Like, I'm not emotionally ready for a book to wreck me. And like, there is low chance, but non-zero chance. Another thing, when I didn't know there were books on the internet and I didn't have any money, I had very limited selection of books available for me, like in local library and at home, and therefore not finishing book I chose and I wanted to read felt like a crime. And although right now I can DNF a book, it still feels wrong. I feel like maybe I haven't read enough to know for sure that I wouldn't like it. And the process enjoyment, by the way, has very little to do with how good book it is, because there are books that are horrible. I give them like 1 or 2 stars, but I enjoyed reading them. For me, one of those is Haruki Murakami, Norwegian Wood. Like, it's beautiful prose, but I give it like 2 stars. Story for another time. Or like a detective, which is so silly. It's like very poorly written, but it's almost hilariously bad. So I had fun reading it. Also, the book itself wasn't good. So that, and also when I'm picking book that is a bit easier, a bit harder to start for me, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm ready to pick something harder for me, but what should I choose? If I choose this, I'm a bit more likely to read it, and this one I'm a bit less likely. Should I go easy route or hard route? Because if I will read this easy one, great, I will definitely read it. However, I might not have energy to read the second. Like, my anxiety and overthinking turns up into selecting perfect book, not just picking a book and reading it, but selecting perfect book I can stop, I can emotionally handle right now, would maximize number of books I will read eventually in the closest amount of time that fit the vibe I feel right now. And so like I prefer reading classics in September for caustic and academia vibes, and there are books I read in spring because they're like, or summer, and sometimes I'm making it too hard on me. So my plan after this video, I will look in for the books that are the longest on my shelf, including Picture of Dorian Gray, and I will start reading one of them. I'm To be honest, I just don't want to read it right now, and I don't feel like forcing myself because that's my hobby. I'm supposed to be enjoying it, and I know if I will start, I will enjoy this book. But also, it's really late, so I won't read more than 1 or 2 chapters, and I would like to read like a big chunk of it. So I think I will postpone it, and I will pick some of my other older books because I have a lot. I like the whole this whole cabinet are books I have not read yet, except like one shelf where my favorite books that I want to read are. So, if you watch this, I hope it was just cozy chat with me, but also, do you have like really old TBR books? Do you still want to read them? Why not? Why yes? Like, what's stopping you? How about I will go reading, I will choose the book and I will go read like a chapter, or if not chapters, like 100 pages, 10 pages. Let's go for 10 pages and decide whether I want to continue. And you can do that too. Maybe that book we're postponing is actually, it turns out to be our favorite book.